Are you looking to have an incredible time at a music festival like EDC Las Vegas? Well, you come to the right place because I'm going to be giving you all my tips and tricks for how to have the most incredible, mind-blowing experience. I've been going to raves and music festivals for over 10 years now, both by myself and in large groups upwards of 50 people. I'm gonna split up this video into 4 key parts. The first are all the different things to know and prepare for before the event. The second is what to expect during the event, a little bit about rave culture and how to navigate it to have the most incredible time. Third, I'm gonna give you some pro tips on what to expect afterwards and how to help recuperate your body since this is a 3-day sprint. And number 4, I'm gonna have a dedicated section to transportation because there's a lot of little key things that I know about on how to make it so much easier that not everybody is aware of. So stay tuned because this is really gonna be the most comprehensive EDC guide ever and one you're gonna wanna listen to the very end. First things first, for what to do to prepare your body. So it's really important to make sure you're getting ample sleep because quite frankly, you're probably not going to be getting much this weekend, especially if we're doing Camp EDC. Camp EDC is basically a party 24/7. People are always dancing, listening to music, and having fun, and it's just so hard to get any actual sleep there. So make sure you get ample sleep beforehand, you start hydrating beforehand, and you start eating really well so your body has all the nutrition it needs to really enjoy the entire weekend. I think hydration is one of the most important things that a lot of people tend to underestimate. I do that by taking things like Gatorade, liquid IV packets, and adding it to water to help rebuild my electrolyte stores. Speaking of hydration, I think it's really important to also bring a Camel Pak or some kind of like attachable water unit. There are free water refill stations once you're inside, but those lines do get very, very long, so just be prepared for that. Make sure that your water unit actually meets their criteria. They have very specific specifications on the sizes and what's allowed to enter and what isn't, and that can change anytime, any year. If you guys are liking this video so far, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe below. It allows me to continue building helpful content like this for you guys. The other really important thing is to make sure you're dressing properly. You would not believe how many horror stories I've heard of people not knowing what to wear. They wear the wrong clothes, they're in so much pain, and also I've made that mistake before too. You're gonna be doing a lot of walking no matter what kind of transit you take, so prepare to wear comfy shoes because you're gonna have to walk in, you're gonna be standing on your feet all day, you're probably gonna be dancing a lot, and those feet are gonna hurt like crazy if you're not wearing the right shoes. Also, don't forget to maybe bring layers if you get cold easily. In the end, it is a desert. It can get windy. You might get a little bit cold around like 3 or 4 in the morning. The other thing is make sure that the clothes you're overall wearing is really comfortable because again, I've made this mistake. I tried this really, really cute sequiny rave bra. I tested it out. It seemed super comfortable, but oh my goodness, that was such a mistake once I actually got there. The wire on the bra actually poked through the fabric because I was like dancing and moving and all that stuff, and it actually cut me and I was bleeding. So again, be really careful what you're wearing because sometimes that cute outfit is just not worth it. And that actually brings me to my next tip, which is I personally love to have a few little first aid things handy with me because while they have first aid stations inside, I really don't want to have to wait in line to get the help. So I like to bring things like band-aids or moleskin just in case I ever get a cut or to add a little bit of extra protection in case there is a part of my clothing that is causing some issues. The other thing is that there's actually an app to download and it'll show you all the set times for all the different events, including the fireworks, the different types of DJs and such. And so that kind of helps you prepare in advance for what you want to see and start to think about the logistics of how to get from one stage to another. I also want to talk about the Kandi Culture, K-A-N-D-I, not the edible candy. These are actually one of the key things that you often see at raves, and it's so much fun to make these before the events, especially with friends. You often give these out to other people when you want to show your love and compassion for one another. Maybe give it to people when they've done something nice for you, like giving you gum, a drink of water, those different things. And these here, I have so many, honestly enough to fill up both arms, but these are some of the most special ones to me. This is actually called a cuff. As you can see, it is very intricate and made out of these little individual pony beads. And there's also a little Hello Kitty charm on it. This was given to me by a friend of a friend at EDC. He just said he loved my energy and spirit so much, so this one is super special. And then these are some of my favorites as well. I remember I actually got this one at my very first rave. I think that was Beyond Wonderland, like more than a decade ago. I went with some friends. Long story short is there was like a lot of drama and they were like fighting amongst themselves, and I was like, okay, well, I just really want to listen to music and listen to Calvin Harris. So I kind of went and did my own thing, and I just started talking to people, and they were like, oh my God, this is your first rave and you're here by yourself? You're a rave baby. And so they gave me this one. And then this last one, and this is actually what makes making these really fun with friends. You can use the lettered beads to write really funny things or inside jokes. This one says platonically, which is an inside joke amongst my friends and I. And the really fun thing about these is when you exchange it with other people. Let's say, you know, this is me, Valerie, and I want to give this bracelet to somebody else who's been really kind. Let's say this person's name is Alex. And so what you do is you make the peace sign, both of you guys. You do peace, love with the heart, and unity with the clasp. And I would take my free hand and move the bracelet over both of our hands to give it to that person. Now we are at the during part of this video, and there's so many tips to tell you about. Aside from the incredible music, one of the best things to do at EDC is to actually explore the fairgrounds. Number one is they have so many beautiful light exhibits and amazing hired dancers that have these incredible costumes and will literally interact with the crowds. They have downtown EDC, which I highly recommend checking out for like at least 10 minutes because you can actually see people getting married, legally binding marriages, which is so cool. There's also a lot of wonderful rides. In the end, it is a carnival, hence EDC Electric Daisy Carnival. If you are gonna do the rides, I recommend doing it on the early end because the lines get very long and they move very slowly. I did that one where you sit in it, it swings you around in a big circle, which was beautiful because I got to see the entire aerial views of EDC. But it did take me about an hour and a half despite getting in line right when EDC opened. So you have to decide if that's worth it for you. I personally think it might make sense to skip the rides and just do something like that when you get back home to a local carnival. Here's another important tip. Are you with me? Are you with me? This is key. There is going to be absolutely no reception once you're there. So do not expect to be able to meet up with your friends by calling each other and texting each other at the event. What I would highly recommend before the event or right at the beginning is to choose a very specific spot on where you guys are going to meet, what time you're going to meet, and how long you're going to wait for each other before you move away from that spot. I made that rookie mistake, and on my first night, I said to my friends, hey, I'll meet up with this group in front of the Ferris wheel at like 10 o'clock. I'll see you there. And when that came time, it was so impossible to find my friend. We just eventually gave up. So the next day I was like, I got this. I know how to be specific. Let's meet in front of the right pillar in front of Kinetic Stage. Guess what? That didn't work either. Once I got there were so many mobs of people trying to also find their friends that I could not see any of mine. So learn from my mistakes and choose a very specific time and place to meet up with your friends before you split ways. Now let's do a quick but comprehensive breakdown of all the stages at EDC Las Vegas. The first and biggest one is Kinetic Field, and this is where all the major headliners are going to be. So think of people like Afrojack, Cascade, Chainsmokers performing there, and it gets so packed with so many people. So if you really want to get up close to the stage, then make sure you arrive early to beat the crowds. There's also really incredible pyrotechnics here, as well as amazing fireworks to go along with the show. Now, across the ways, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the people traffic, is Circuit Grounds, and I absolutely love Circuit Grounds. This tends to have a lot of the more heavy-hitting music, so think of people like Mala, Rez, Excision, and Slander. And what makes this stage really special is that you are surrounded by LED screens all around, which really immerses you into the most incredible visuals ever. And they have these incredible dancers and amazing costumes that are literally dancing on trampolines. So they will be bouncing on trampolines and like striking dance moves mid-air. Super cool. The third stage that is really fun as well is Cosmic Meadows, and the music here tends to lean more towards like melodic chill. So think of people like Zhu or Griffin or Dabin as well. And this one's special because it's the only stage that has a grassy area for you to sit and relax in, and also you can sit on the bleachers and still get a view of the stage and listen to the music. There's some smaller stages as well, like Bass Pod, which is known for their drum and bass, their bass music, as well as dubstep. There is Quantum Valley, and Quantum Valley is more trancy and usually less packed. There's also Neon Garden, which tends to be more deep house and techno music. And there's also Wasteland, which is the hard style. The one really special thing are also the little art cars, which usually have smaller DJs. And the fun thing is it's literally moving around the entire fairgrounds. Sometimes some of the bigger DJs are actually going to headline on these little ones, but you never know when. It's a surprise. So it's really smart to look at socials to figure out who and when they might be performing. Okay, so the next not so sexy thing that I want to talk about that I think is really important is ear protection. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't think of, and a lot of people also regret it. So of course you can go the old school route and you could just use a normal earplug. I don't love these simply because these are meant to actually keep the sound out. So you kind of do lose some of the audio like quality. quality. Or you can go on the opposite end, which is to get custom earplugs, which depending on the quality where you get it done, it can be anywhere from like 100 to multiple hundreds. So it's definitely an investment, but a great way to make sure that it's comfortable, that you can hear the music really well without losing your hearing and damaging your eardrums. I really like these from Loop. You basically just like put it in your ear and you can still hear the sound quality really well. It's just not as loud. Definitely these are my favorites of all the different ones I've tried. What I actually did in a pinch is I would gather tissues and kind of wad it up and just like stick it in my ear to help keep some of the sound out. Again, not the best solution, but that's what I had to do when I lost my earbud. Okay, so let's get into the after the event for the day or the entire event part of this video. Every day, I like to actually elevate my feet for as long as possible. When you are literally standing and dancing your feet for multiple hours, your feet are gonna swell and they're gonna hurt so much. So it's really, really important to elevate those bad boys after every day. The other thing is, obviously when you've been dancing all day and you know, not really eating, then it's really important to make sure you're getting all those nutrients back in. So make sure you eat anything with high proteins, for example, nuts, protein bars, meat, if for some reason you have access to meat, like beef jerky works, and make sure you stay hydrated again. Doesn't matter if you think you drink enough water before and during, you gotta drink afterwards as well. Hey, so transportation, this is a big one. So I would recommend giving yourself 2 to 3 hours to get to the event just to account for all the traffic there is, especially on the first night when everybody is basically arriving at the same time because of the opening events. Now, there are 3 major means of transportation. The first and most popular is the shuttle, the second is driving, and the third is a rideshare like an Uber or a Lyft. The shuttles, again, are most popular. You have whatever shuttle pass you have that picks you up at whatever designated location, and you just get in and it takes you to the event. What I will say though is be mentally prepared for very long queues because it is always so packed. And then more importantly is sometimes, honestly, the shuttles are not actually that dependable. My friends actually took 4 hours to get home from EDC back to their hotel on the Strip because the shuttle broke down not once, but twice in the same night. So it was literally stranded on the side of the road and they had to wait for another shuttle to come pick them up and take them home. Second is driving. So this is what my friends and I did. I actually think this worked out very well. You just need to make sure you have a safe designated driver. We actually took the back route by taking the I-15 north from the Strip to EDC, and we exited at 54, which is Speedway Boulevard. This is the back doorway and in theory has a lot less traffic than in the front way, which is taking Las Vegas Boulevard. Always look at traffic first just to see. Of course, as the years go on, people get more clever. They start to figure out these backdoor routes, and so those backdoor routes obviously become more popular and packed with time. I would say maybe try Waze and see if that's going to give you a really great idea on the fastest route for the year that you're going. And number 3 is car share. So I would say unless you hate yourself and you're like a masochist, do not, I repeat, do not rely on Ubers or Lyfts. And the reason being is because it is so hard to actually get one. I have friends of friends that tried to do this and it took them about 2 or 3 hours just to get an actual Uber. Number 1, when you're at the event, it's unlikely you're gonna have reception, even if you have a great phone carrier. You're gonna be fighting with so many other people also trying to secure a car, so that's number 2. And number 3, if you actually secure a car, then you have to hope that the driver doesn't cancel on you or that they can actually make it through all that traffic to come pick you up. And then number 4, of course, you have to get into the car and you have to try to get out of all the traffic jams. So overall, it is a really bad idea. Do not depend on car sharing to get you home. If you need to Uber to the event, that should work perfectly fine. I did that on the second day of EDC and it worked easy peasy lemony squeezy. And there you guys have it. Those are all my pro tips from over 10 years of going to raves and music festivals. If you guys like my videos, then don't forget to check out more here where I share my experiences of living in New York City, traveling abroad, and trying new foods. I can't wait to see you guys under the electric sky, and I just want to wish you peace, love, and unity. See you guys soon.